What's up, Wow! Whoa! Ooh, that mic is hot. Uh, Jesus. Something messed with my mic settings. I'm sorry. I just see my levels here and they're like, blah. Hey, what did you just grab? Hey. No. Claire thinks I'm yelling at her. Oh my God, go. You go that way. Go play with the puppy. There they go. Anyways, let's see. Let me turn the mic gain down. So, yes. I do not know why that is so hot right now. Anyways, let me check my audio video settings. I'm sorry. It wouldn't be a stream unless something was screwing up. Now would it? The answer is no. Let's see. I should have it set at 80 here. There we go. Let's see. We're back into the normal. All right. There we go. So, sorry about that. Anyways, you guys are right. I saw people asking about the giveaway. I did not get a chance. I thought I was going to stream before the end of the month, and I did not. So, before we get started, let's go right into picking a winner. And for February, we're giving away an Ender 3 Max. So, as soon as I got all the names in here, we got 666 entries. I don't know if that's a bad sign or not, but let's go. Let's see who wins. Oh man, the site's chugging. Up, 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 up. Steve Young. I don't know if Steve Young is on here, but I will be able, I have his information, so I will reach out to him. So Steve Young is the winner of a brand new Ender 3 Max. And we have that here. So we will go ahead and get that sent out to you. So anyways, let's get into the Ask Tim here. By popular request, you can see right here, there is the puppy cam. I even put, look at their little faces. Got them little avatars. Isn't that adorable? So now you guys can watch the dogs. If you see them and the puppy's like doing something bad, let me know. I will be keeping an eye on him. So it serves as two things. You guys get to see the dogs, and I can keep an eye on the puppy. If he ends up being a pain, I will end up just putting him in his crate. Yes, 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 you're a terror. His nickname now is Piranha. Can you tell why? It's because he's puppy teeth. So anyways, let's get into the questions here. Yeah, Nightbot works when he wants to. So he's going to whine. Let's see if I can get him to sit in my lap. If he can just lay in my lap, that'd be great. So let's see here. I saw someone, I think it was Sean. I think he's Hypertech on our Discord server, where he is having weird layer issues with his prints here. Let's see. Let's take a look and see what we got going on here. Where's my monitor button? There's my monitor button. So I did look at these, and this looks like a Z issue. Like it's not moving up when it's supposed to. You could also be way too close on your bottom layer. These don't look too bad, but here's the thing. The first layer is not too squished here, so that leads me to believe that this is probably an issue with... Can you stop whining? This leads me to believe this is probably an issue with your Z. The fact that it's doing it at the same exact spot, and like this one, couldn't tell if you were too close because it's on the texture plate. It's harder to tell. But it definitely looks like your Z binding up. I would start there. Check that everything is moving smoothly. It's going to be very hard to determine at that location just because it's right at the start. So what I would probably do is go ahead and just rebuild my Z-axis. Is my computer lagging? I don't know why. But yeah, I would start there. Go rebuild your Z-axis. Make sure everything's tight. Make sure everything is lubricated. But yeah, it looks like it's telling it to move up, and it is, but it's not doing the full move that it's supposed to. So let's see what else we got here. Where'd the puppy go? Okay, he's under the futon. If you guys can see him, he's hiding. But that's no fun. Hang on, let me fix that really quick, so we can take a look at here. The mic pop. Is my mic like going out? Is that an issue? It could be the background noise removal that I'm doing on here. I got that fancy NVIDIA one. It's removing the stuff. Let me go to the live chat here. Oh, Puppy Cam blocks the cube. Oh no. Oh no. Let's see if is that better? Is that better? There we go. So let me see here. Let me just go right to the Yeti here and not do any sort of NVIDIA fancy filtering on it. Let's see. Noise suppression. We should be back to normal. Who is hitting the bells? Puppy's hitting the bells. Puppy, do you actually have to go outside, or are you playing with them? Puppy is playing with them. Oh man, I might have to put him in his pen for the stream. Although, hang on, he might actually have to go out. Damn it, I'm sorry, guys. All right, we should be back now. I'm sorry about that. He did actually have to go, so he's using the bells. I'm sorry. Anyways, let's go back. Let's go back here. I'm sorry, guys. I'd rather not be cleaning up pee and poop in my office. So yeah. Let's see here. Questions. We just answered Sean Youth's question. Dominic's Versetto is the next one. So he says, I started getting hot end clogs 4 days before the heatsink fan started railing on my Ender 5. Are there any other indications of fan problem? Should I replace my other fans just to be safe? So the reason you're getting clogs is because of heat creep, because it's not actually cooling the heatsink like it should be. That's what you're seeing there. So I would highly recommend replacing the fans. We see the stock fans on the Creality machines go out all the time. That's why we sell a lot of replacement fans. So yeah, I always just replace them when we get the machines, especially if they're going in the print farm. If it's like a test machine or... Hey! If it's a test machine or one that is not a production machine, then we might use the stock ones, but we usually end up replacing the stock 40 millimeter fans if they have them. I'm just looking over here because he's in the corner. Go get your brother. Go get him. I don't know if he's just laying down over there or not, but there's cords over there, so I need to keep it on. He's outside of Puppy Cam. So let's see. Sebi V says he's got an Ender 6 and he's planning to install linear rails for XY. How many should I order and how should I place them? Don't do that to your Ender 6. You're not going to need it. Use it stock for a while. Look up a video. Teaching Tech did a video on people converting their stuff to linear rails, and there's really not a big gain. If you're going to go through that much trouble, I would say just go with a printer that either comes with them or build your own Core XY machine that has linear rails on it. I feel like that'd be a waste for that machine, especially when there's, I don't know, it's kind of a high-cost machine. I wouldn't do it, but you're not going to, it's going to be a waste, to be completely honest. Let's see here. Of course, they're right by me. I might have to put him in his pen. Let's just keep going. We got to figure out the puppy situation. Why don't you guys go over there? Dear God, hang on. Clara, go. And in the pen we go. There we go. All right. The puppy is secured. There we go. We're just going to do that. Sorry, guys. Rough start today. I blame the dogs. Let's see here. Craig Williams, he says, when a print finishes, the print head homes on the x-axis as they should. However, occasionally the x-axis stepper doesn't stop right away when it reaches the end stop and causes a grinding noise. That only happens at the end of the print, not when homing the printer. That really shouldn't matter. I think it's just a coincidence that it's happening at the end of a print. I would highly... I'm trying to think what I would recommend. You could probably do a slower homing. What's probably happening is the switch isn't registering fast enough and it's causing it to ram into it. So if you slow down your homing speed in your firmware, then you can probably get around that issue. Because I have had machines where if you home them too fast, they will grind because it doesn't register quick enough. Or just how it hits the switch doesn't always register it. So I would definitely recommend slowing down your homing speed. It depends on what firmware you're using. In our TH3D firmware, there should be, I don't know if we have homing speed setting. I feel like we do. Let me pull up a configuration file here. Let's see. Yes, there is an option in our firmware under miscellaneous called slower homing. So if you're using our firmware, you can go ahead and do that. Let me pull up the actual file so I can show you guys what that's doing on the back end here in case you're using regular Marlin. So let's switch over here. So in the firmware here, under the miscellaneous settings here, you'll see like LCD knob direction, fan fix, etc. Right here, printer homing. So this will slow down the homing speed. And for you guys using Marlin, when this option gets turned on, you'll see we go from a 50 millimeter second homing speed to 20. So if you're using regular Marlin, you would want to find the homing feed rate XY variable here, and you would change this first number. So it's this turns it into millimeters a second. So you want to just change this number. So let's say I wanted 40 millimeters a second, you would just change that to a 40. If I wanted 30, etc., you would just change that value. So that would change your homing speed, and that should take care of the hard bump on the end stops. So pretty simple to change that. Let's see here. JD Canasey says he's got a hypercube, and while he's printing, the nozzle drags on the top part of the print. I have a BL Touch, and it seems like it's not taking the bed level into account, causing the nozzle to drag on the print. So when you have auto bed leveling enabled, it doesn't matter what probe you're using. Anytime if auto bed leveling is enabled, I'm not sure why my thing keeps like chopping. I don't know why. Let me try. That's the only thing I added was the doggo cam. Anyways, I'm moving stuff here. Anyways, if it's causing the nozzle to drag, it definitely sounds like the compensation's not on. I don't know if you're using ABL fade. If you're using like a fade height, that could also be an issue where the layers are actually stacked on top of each other a little too much. But when auto bed leveling's on and you do a move, so if you do a G28 and then a G29, and then just tell the printer to move, you should actually see the Z motors moving as your nozzle travels around the bed area. So if it's not doing that, you can get dragging and whatnot. So let's say you just did a G28 and did a move, it won't have the compensation on. So if it's not on, what you need to make sure is in your starting code for the printer, you need to make sure you have a G28 followed by a G29. And this is assuming you're using Marlin, because G28 is going to home, and the G29 is then going to take the mesh and then enable it. If you're storing your mesh, which some people do, you can store your mesh into EEPROM. For Marlin, you use M420 S1, and that will turn on the auto bed leveling using the mesh data that's in EEPROM. G29 gets a fresh mesh data and puts it into memory and then turns auto bed leveling on. So a G28 gets the mesh and then it activates it and it turns on auto bed leveling. If you're storing your mesh in EEPROM, what are you eating? That is not a toy. I was like, it sounded like he had something he shouldn't. All these toys, and he has a cap. I think this is from like an e-juice bottle. I don't know where he got that from, but he apparently found it. Anyways, yeah, so you if you're not doing the stored mesh, then you should have a G28, G29. If your nozzle's still dragging, then I would look in to see if you need to have an update, if you can update to a newer firmware version. I don't know what you're running. You didn't specify that there, so I'm not exactly sure. I'm looking to see if you posted any other comments, but you didn't. I swear to God, I will put him in his crate, which is in the house. Hopefully he'll just lay down. So, but yeah, check your starting code. It could be something as simple as that. Let's see, Matt Madib. I know you're a regular here, and I always script your last name. I'm just gonna call you Matt. How's that? He said he had the heat sinks fall off some TMC 229 standalone, started getting layer shifts before I pulled it and saw the issue. Would that have damaged my stepper motors? Only ran a few hours. Typically, they won't get damaged. They just go into protection mode, which is what you're seeing with the layer shifts. That's actually the driver shutting down because it's running too hot. They do have some fail safes, but I would think it'd probably be fine. Just put the heat sinks back on there, and you'll probably be fine. Yeah, JD KFC said he's running an old version of Marlin 2 bug fix. Try updating to the latest bug fix. That's what they'll always tell you, and that's what I'll tell you. If you're having an issue, update your firmware. Usually, if there's any problems, they'll be taken care of in firmware. So, yeah. Let me move this down here. Will this go behind my logo? Oh, no, it's going above the logo. Hang on. Wait. Remote, you need to calm down. There we go. We'll do that. That's better. He is not happy. So yeah, you're probably going to be fine with those. Let's see here. John Santiago says he's got Tasmota automatically turning off the printers after a print, but I have an LED strip on a separate easy plug. Where do I tell Tasmota to auto shut off the LEDs? So if you want to do it all within the Octoprint plugin, it sounds like you're using the Octoprint plugin, which I highly recommend. You can define a separate plug and tell that to turn on and off with just like the other plugs. So you just add a second plug into the plugin and tell it that you also want that plug to turn on and off when the on-off event is fired. So if we, let me pull up a printer. Let's see, 202 should be my Ender 5 Plus. It is. So if we go in here and we go to the Tasmota, you can just hit this little plus button here and add another plug, and you could have, you just put the IP address in, and you can have it also do off on idle. You would just uncheck the other options. You don't need auto connect, auto disconnect. Basically just set the same options here that you do for your main plug. And then that'll give you different options to control multiple plugs. And then obviously you hit save. I'm not going to actually change those settings. Oh, it's actually done printing. This is an ABS print I just did on my Ender 5 Plus, just a little adapter piece for a customer. So anyways, yeah, you would just add a second plug definition. It's really all you got to do. Let's see here. Oh, there we go. Chat jumped. Let's see. Nemo Griff is asking, have I heard of the Hex Epox thermistor from Gulf Coast Robotics that screws an M3 thread on the heater block? Yes, I have heard of it. It's literally just a thermistor screwed into an M3 standoff, like what you use with your motherboards. It's the same thermistor. They just are putting it in there. I don't know if they're having a supplier do it or they're doing it in-house, but it's literally just the glass thermistor put into the little standoff, and then they silicone it in there. But I know Tor uses them. I haven't used them because they get in the way of some of the silicone socks. But, I mean, it's a thermistor. The nice thing about thermistors is that they're typically universal if you use the same type. Most of your 100K thermistors are going to be the same type, unless you're dealing with some weird one. What's it called? Anthony Francis said, I'm trying to get the Easy Board for N3 set up for parallel heater using defined heaters parallel, and the online configurator will not configure it. Yeah, that's not what you think it is. That's for when you're doing multiple heater outputs. I'm assuming what you're trying to do is have your board heat the hot end and the bed at the same time. Don't be messing with the firmware. That's a slicer setting, and it varies from different slicers. So that's something you set on the slicer. So the board will heat both at the same time, but it has to know what that information is. So you have to do that in your slicer so it tells the board to heat both at the same time. Don't mess with the firmware. You're going to break and stuff. That heater's parallel option, if I'm correct, is for when you're running two MOSFET outputs to control two separate heaters with one thermistor, if I'm correct. I'd have to look into the config, but it sounds like you're doing something that isn't going to end up doing what you want it to do. So I'm just pulling up the stock Marlin files because there should be a definition on there of what that is. It's an ADV option. That's probably a config ADV option. It's either one of the two. It's either config.h or it's ADV. Yeah, so that option is to control heater 0 and heater 1 in parallel. So if you have like two hot end heaters, yeah, it's just going to link the two together. So that's not going to do what you're doing because the EasyBoard has two heater outputs. One is a bed and one's a hot end. This is for doing the, what's the word I'm looking for? That's for doing like a hot end output. So, let's see here. Craig Williams says that he tried slowing down the homing and he still had the problem. Sounds like your end stop's going bad. That sounds like if you're still getting issues where it's bumping into it, it sounds like your switch is going bad, and that's not going to be something software can fix. So, let's see. Jonathan Bayer posted some images in the Discord live streams. Let's see. Let me switch here. Where's my OBS, my OBSs? I'm assuming you're talking about these lines here, all up and down the print. I would usually when I see this is usually either an issue with like the bed slightly moving, so maybe your wheels aren't adjusted correctly and there's some slop in them, or this could be just an extrusion issue where the filament's not feeding correctly. I would try a different roll of filament. Is this on every single print? Because it's uniform up here, but it's not down here. It's kind of random. So that would tell me it's probably a mechanical issue more than anything. Because if it was like, let's say it's like a lead screw or something, it'll usually be the same pattern all the way throughout the print. But we're seeing, like, this looks like a pattern up here. I don't know if that's on your actual model or not. Like, it starts up here, but this is not a pattern. This is not very consistent at all. But I would definitely say it's going to be something mechanical, either on your bed or on the Z. One thing I have heard people having issues with where it manifests itself like this is if your bed flexes a lot when you're printing and it's going through its heating cycles, is that if you turn on the bed PID, that will usually help get rid of these issues, because what's happening is as the bed's heating and cycling in the bang bang mode, it's gonna, and with our firmware, it checks every half second to see if it needs a heat or not. Which if your bed warps a lot while yours is heating, you can get it manifesting itself as artifacts on the print. But usually with a half second interval for the bang bang temperature regulation, you don't usually see that. I would check with your mechanicals and make sure that everything is correctly adjusted. And then if that doesn't help, go ahead and turn on PID tuning for your bed and see if that fixes it. We do have a article on here if we go to guides, and it should be under is it under, no, yeah, it should be under guides here. Oh yeah, right here, PID bed calibration. I could have just used the search, but there is a guide on calibrating your bed. You would have to turn this on if you're using our firmware. It's disabled by default because most printers don't need it, and I'll give you an example. I turned PID bed on for my Ender 5 Plus today when I updated the firmware, just thinking why not, and then it took forever to get to temperature. So if you use the bed PID tuning, or PID control, you have to tune it for your bed. Otherwise, it's going to take forever to get to temperature. The stock Marlin configs, the stock Marlin PID values are not the best for stock printer beds. So that's what I would go on, or that's what I would go do and check. So let's see here. All right, we're back on track here. They said the mic popping issue is fixed, so that's good. Superconductor is asking, just starting out with a stock Ender 3 V2 and PLA, how do I speed up iterating prints, wider nozzle, upgrade extruder, upgrade hot end? My go-to is I change out the extruder for a geared one, like the tough extruder. I think my blue iris is what's causing my... I blue iris up on my screen up there. I think that's what's causing my choppiness in the video. We'll see if that's better. But anyways, usually what I'll do, like the easiest way, is to go to a geared extruder and change out the nozzle to a copper one, which we have our tough extruder and we also have our easy flow copper nozzles. I run our copper nozzles on a lot of machines, and just going, not even changing the hot end, just going to the copper nozzle is going to allow the heat transfer to be a lot more efficient, so you can get away with a little bit faster print speeds, even on the same size nozzle versus brass. But the easiest way is going to be the nozzle and the extruder. You can use your stock extruder. The problem is at a certain point, if you start printing really fast, it's just not going to be able to keep up unless it is a geared one. And as far as I remember, the Ender 3 V2, that is a non-geared one. So it's a double drive gear, so it does have a good amount of bite into the plastic, into your filament, but it does not have the gearing. So when you go to the gearing, you get more torque, which means you can push filament harder. So I'm gonna turn off Puppy Cam here just because they're not doing anything right now. You can see they're both asleep, which is good. That's where we want them. So anyways, yeah, that's what I would do. Try just changing the nozzle out and see how that goes. That might give you the bump you're looking for. Don't go crazy buying a ton of stuff until you actually find out what you actually need. So in terms of the easiest thing, swapping over a copper nozzle with a wider diameter, like going to a 0.6 copper nozzle, will be a very good bump up. I'm running the 0.6 copper nozzle that we sell, the Easy Flow, which is the MK8 style you want for that printer, on my Ender 5 Plus, and just doing that change. I haven't changed anything else on there that really matters. I have changed extruder, but I'm not running it super fast yet. But just print time, cutting print time, still printing at 60 millimeters a second, I'm getting a lot faster prints because I'm able to push out more plastic at a wider width. So usually when you're printing with a 0.4 nozzle, your extrusion width's about 0.4 to 0.5 sometimes, depending on what your slicer settings are at. With a 0.6, you can go up to 0.8 and 0.9 on the extrusion width. We're not talking about layer height, we're talking about extrusion width. So each line it makes can be wider because it's got a wider opening. And the thing is, if you do that with a standard nozzle, you bump up your extrusion width, eventually you're going to hit a point where the nozzle can't transfer the heat from the heater block into the plastic fast enough, and that's where the copper one comes into play. One of the other benefits of the copper one is that it also is wear resistant. So if you want to start playing with glow-in-the-dark or carbon fiber PLAs or PETGs or ABS, stuff that's got those abrasive fills inside the filament, the Easy Flow copper nozzles are great for withstanding up to the abrasiveness of that. If you run that stuff through a brass nozzle, it's just going to tear it open. Let's see here. Let's see. Lawrence Ott says he's got a CR6 and he's trying to talk to it over USB. PCC's on COM4 and it powers the UI and screen, but I cannot make it see. I cannot see it in front interface. Do you think I need a new motherboard? So here's the thing. If it says that it powers a screen, so I'm assuming your printer's not plugged in. I would first try plugging it in and then connecting USB. Just be careful with those machines, because I know a lot of people have had issues with them frying their USB ports on the computer. If it's still not, if it's seeing the COM port, it has the drivers for the board. If you weren't seeing a COM port, then I'd say you need to update your drivers for the board. You could try updating them. Maybe it's just an older one. that's on there and it's not working correctly. But yeah, I was gonna put the giveaway link up here, but apparently it's just not linking my stuff. Thanks, Streamlabs. Let's try that again. I have like these key binds here that send messages to chat, and there we go. I just reauthorized it. It should go. I'll give it a sec. Did it work? Nope. Well, we'll just have to do it. If you guys want to enter the giveaway, it's giveaway.th3dstudio.com. I'm sorry I'm kind of all over the place today. The puppies kind of threw me off, and now Stream Deck just isn't working correctly. I don't know why. I don't know why it's not working correctly. Come on. Can we do that? I'm just going to copy it here. Yeah, it's just not playing nice. I'll just have to do it manually. Let's see here. Joseph Wonder, what are the chances I run Home Assistant and Clipper off the same Pi? Don't do that. Don't do that at all. Keep that shit separately. You're going to end up running into bottlenecks, and it's going to screw up your prints. Pis are cheap enough. Get a second Pi. There has to be separation between services. We do that with our own stuff here. Kyle's asking, do you have a video that shows how to fix the Ender 3 V2 trying to power from the USB that runs my Octopi setup? Trying to find one with good information, but they're all kind of sketchy. Really simple. We have a little board you plug in. You don't have to tape anything. You don't have to cut any wires or traces. It's called the Power Blocker, and I will post a link to that in chat. This will fix the issue of the LCD staying on, and it's also kind of dangerous too, because let's say you have your printer heated, okay, and or you're telling it to heat, and then you cut the power off from the power supply. It will actually try to pull a decent amount of amps through the USB port. And now most USB ports, like on your computer, if I have a Ender 3 hooked up to my computer and I tell it to heat and I shut it off, the USB port will shut down because it'll surge the port. Creality's boards do this. They should have it isolated so it can't do that, but they don't. Big Tree Tech's boards do this as well. The Easy board does not do that, so you don't have to worry about that with ours. But a really simple fix is the Power Blocker, and you just plug it in to the USB port and you plug your printer into that, and it just cuts the 5-volt rail off so it can't pull it. Let's see here. Where is it? Hang on. Chat jumped again. Chat jumped again. I'm looking for more questions. You guys are chatty today. Which Travis is always asking about the treats are given to the dogs. We will give them treats in a little bit towards the end. DK Diamonds is saying, hey, he's replacing the Elgumar's LED screen right now. The touchscreen is not showing, so I'm unsure what to do. Pretty sure I've connected it correctly. I'm not very familiar with the Elgumars. I am familiar with some of the resin printers in general, and they're pretty simple. Usually you have an LCD board and the main control board, and then you have the actual LED screen that does exposure. I would go back and just double check that all your connections are correct. But you're gonna have to reach out to them on that, because I don't have any Elegoo Mars machines here. Most of my resin printers, I think except for one, I have one ANET and I have 5 Anycubics. So I kind of got on the Anycubic bandwagon. Let's see here. Tom Rainier is asking, I watched your Sunlu S8 program from December. Is there an easier way to update the firmware? I do not have a burner, or is it even needed? No, you don't need a bootloader flasher for the Sunlu S8. It comes with one. That printer literally just updates over the USB. So you plug a USB cable from the printer into your computer. You load up Visual Studio Code, set your options for that particular printer and its board, and then you upload over the USB. Do not try to flash a bootloader on that. You guys need to make sure make sure you know what board you have in your printer and what chip is on it, because I've seen a lot of people where they just don't read and they're like, oh, every printer's got to have a bootloader board. Most of them come with them now. The 32-bit boards, as far as I know, aside from I think some ANETs, Creality ones anyways, they come with the bootloader. The 32-bit ones flash over the SD card. You put the file on there, you boot it up, it pulls the image off the SD card and flashes it to the program memory. If you have an 8-bit board and you have what's called the Mega 2560 chip on it, so if you look at the board and it says 2560, Atmel's the brand name, those usually have the bootloader on it. So don't try to burn a 1284p bootloader on there. The 1284p chips are what were on some of the older Creality boards. As far as I know, they've retired the 8-bit 1284p based boards, but there are still companies out there that still use those chips on their boards, like Anycubic does on their Mega Zero, but theirs do come with the bootloader. ANET boards don't come with a bootloader. The 1284p Creality ones don't. So basically check any sort of documentation. Like, we have a lot of stuff documented in our help center, so if you're not sure, look up if we have a firmware for your printer, because if on that firmware page, we will put a note that the printer needs a bootloader or not for that printer with that board. So we try to define that. Let's see here. Matt Madoob is asking about high temp thermistor options and my opinion of the slice engineering versus E3D's PT100. I've used E3Ds, but I haven't used the slices. As far as I know, if I was doing a high temp setup, I'd probably go with slices, because as far as I know, that's just a thermistor and you don't need an external amplifier board. The E3D PT100 is kind of outdated and old now. They still sell it, but there's many other options now that are standard thermistors that don't require an amplifier board. Because the PT100 is actually a thermocouple, as far as I know. Yeah. So I would probably go with the slice one, to be completely honest, because that's a much simpler setup. You just give your firmware the thermistor number. As far as I know, they are in Marlin now, and that's it. Let's see. Next question. It jumped. Hang on. I gotta get back to where I was. We were talking about thermistors. Adam Cadillac is asking, what's your take on filament dryers? 50, 80 bucks, is it worth it? I don't think so. Unless you're putting nylon all the time. In that case, what we do for nylon, so we have nylon here, we do print in nylon occasionally, is we will actually put it in a food dehydrator and run it overnight in there. They work really well, and you can pick up a food dehydrator for $20 to $30. You just take the trays, you clip the trays out of them, and then you have just a big area in there. It works really well. So, but I haven't, TPU is one I've dried before. If it like pops, you could be in a damper area than we are. It's pretty dry up here for the most part, even in the summer compared to some other areas of the U.S. But I just use a food dehydrator. Let's see here. Ever use an Orange Pi to run Octoprint? I have not. I stick with the Raspberry Pi boards. I bought an Orange Pi board probably about 2 or 3 years ago, and just nothing worked correctly on it, so I just stuck with the Raspberry Pi boards. I'm sure you could get it running on there, because you can install Octoprint on any Linux distribution. I just don't like messing with, what's it called? I don't like messing with those weird knockoff boards unless I have a project that specifically needs those boards. Tom Rainier says, with the Solo S8, how many points will it check, and do we have control of the numbers? Yes, by default, our firmware is set up for a 3x3 grid, so 9 points total. That's all I run on a bed that size. You can change it if you want. I wouldn't go over 7. There's an option in the firmware called the EasyABL points, and that's set to 3. So if you change that to 5, you then get a 5x5 grid, so 25 points. If you change to 7, you get a 7x7 grid, so on and so forth. But at a certain point, it's just kind of a wash. It doesn't really matter. Aluminum is asking about your EasyFlex. Why can't I buy it without the magnetic material? It forces me to spend an extra 20. That's the page you're clicking on is actually the bundle page where you can buy the plate and the base on one page. If you go to our store and you go on the left side, you'll see under all products, there is, and I'll show you right here. So on the left side here, so let's go to the main store landing page here. So if you go to all products, you can do it right here. And go to bed sheets / flex systems. There's the page here. This is the flex plate only, and this is the magnetic base only. And you can see this is a flexible print system. So this page here is a page where you can get the plate and the magnet and other add-ons. If you want just the magnet or just the plate, you want to go to the actual flex plate listing here. So if you go on the bundle page here, you'll notice, and this is how our site operates when we have bundled products, there's this little like arrow thing here. If you click this, it'll actually take you to the actual product page itself. So you can locate that there. You do not have to buy the magnet with a plate. So you can buy them completely separate. The page you're hitting is just the one where it's a kind of like a bundle display, if that makes sense. Let's see here. Chat keeps jumping a lot. You guys are chatty today, which is good. I don't mind chatter in the chat. It's just screwing up my stuff here. My workflow, because it keeps jumping on me. Andrew Humphrey says, on a bed slinger, what would cause layer irregularities or ringing at infill changes? Example, bottom layers to infill. I'm not sure what you mean by that. You need to post some pictures in the Discord server. So we have the Livestream channel in the Discord server, which there's a link in the video description. Go ahead and post your stuff in there and just make sure you put like, hey, this is Andrew from YouTube or something so I know. Let's see here. Let's go back. Go back. Giveaway page says the page is closed. No, it should be open. Your browser might be caching. Oh, is this still on my paste? It's not still on my paste. And Stream Deck is still not working. That's really aggravating. Stream Deck has a thing where I can just press a button. It's supposed to put something into chat, but it's not working. Let's try this again. No, it's getting pissy with me. We'll have to figure that out later. It sucks because I can't really test those chat buttons unless we're live. Let's see here. MaxJ is asking, the power blocker, it cuts the VCC line, which is the 5 volt. Where's the dad is asking, I got the tough hot end with the high flow upgrade. I bought the tough extruder, the pancake motor. I want to go direct drive. Which mount do you recommend? So if you got the hot end and the tough extruder and you want to combine them into one, you would want to look on Thingiverse. Let me see if I can find some. For something that's going to do like a Titan direct drive, because that's going to be the mounting pattern that you're going to follow, is the Titan direct drive. I believe the Petsfang system has one where it's for the actual direct drive setup. I'm trying to find a link to his, and the Petsfang supports a lot of different machines. I'm trying to find it here. Because Dave, who's the guy who designed the Petsfang, he actually used our extruder to actually design it. But ours works with anything that works with the Titan setup or the Titan plus V6 setup. I'm just looking on Thingiverse right here. I think this is it. I don't know what machine you have, but this is for like a TiVo Tornado or what's the word I'm looking for? TiVo Tornado or the the CR10 Ender 3 series. So, where's it at? There we go. I'm pulling up Andrew Humphrey's chat, or his message in Discord here about his print quality issues. This looks more like a slicing or even extrusion problem here, because you can see other extrusion issues here in the print. That's what it looks like. Let me... Oh, here, I can blow it up, apparently. Yeah, you can see there's other extrusion issues here in the print. And here, a little bit here. You can see it's kind of bulged out here. This is going to be extrusion. I don't think it's going to be something wrong with your actual machine. Aside from extruder tension could be a possible thing. This doesn't look terrible. I've seen worse cubes. Like, this isn't bad. This is just okay is what I would say. But I'm not sure aside from what information I've already given you. I would look and see if you're getting any sort of blockage in the nozzle, or even the filament diameter. That one's going to be hard to track down. Let's see here. Oh. Andrew's asking, is it bad to add neodymium magnets to the bottom of the heat bed to make my flex plate stick? The only consideration you have to make sure that you're taking into consideration is the traces on the bed, because if you have any that are scratched or that the solder mask gets scratched, those can short out. Everybody's basically doing the magnetic sheets now where you stick them to the top of the bed. That's what we sell. But you can do that. I just don't like doing that just because it's one more point of failure. Yeah. We used to do that a while ago before the magnets became more available. Let's see. Luminon was asking on the Easy Flex, what, for PETG, nylon, ABS, what should I use, texture or smooth? It's up to you. If you're doing ABS and nylon, definitely get some of the Vision Miner to go with it, because in general, ABS and nylon do not like to stick to PEI very well. And when we do ABS prints on the Easy Flex, we do them with the Vision Miner on there. Our whole ABS print farm does the Easy Flex smooth and texture. We got a mix of both, and we use the nanopolymer on there. JJ Miller says, how do you eliminate EMI interference on the screen? It's going wild. I have no clue what could be causing it. I'm not sure what you mean by EMI interference. You're talking about, there's a couple different kinds of EMI interference you can get on printer screens. One of them is where your button, it's acting like if you were pushing the button on the screen over and over again. And depending on what printer you have and what board, I might have a product that fixes that you literally just plug in and that's it. But if you're talking about like corruption on the screen where it's like shifting the pixels and it looks like, you know, someone's trying to hack into the matrix, that would be a shielding with the actual LCD cables themselves. You can get 10-pin shielded cables. What I've also done in a pinch where if I've had LCD display corruption, you can try adjusting the timings in the firmware for the LCD to make them a little slower. I don't know what firmware you're using, but I deal with Marlin firmware. So in the Marlin firmware, you can set display timings for the, I think it's ST7290 or something like that. I can't remember the actual name. I think it's ST7290. But you can change the timings to be a little bit slower, and that can sometimes fix it. But the core issue is that you're getting interference if it's like all pixel shifted and stuff. And what you can do is take some foil, wrap like one layer of foil over the cables, wrap that in electrical tape so the foil doesn't short anything else out, and that will usually be enough to prevent any interference from getting through there. Creality does, well, they used to. Creality actually used to ship their printers with shielded cables. They had like a stick-on metal foil type stuff, and yeah, it would be good. Rotate so I can show a list of the doggo. Oh, Doug's watching. There you go. Pup Cam is back. He's sleeping. You can't really see him, but hang on. There's the doggo. There's the doggo. I'll grab the doggo in a sec. He's being quiet, and we're almost at the end of the stream, so I will grab him. And that means I get treats. Clara, do you want a treat? We'll give them treats in a little bit, because we're almost done here. Where are some other questions? Because we're coming up on the hour mark already. That went by quick. Let's see here. 99 Calic is asking about the maker base E3P. I haven't messed with them. I have the E3D. I think it's the E3D because I remember going. That's like because there's a brand name called E3D. But I also haven't played with that yet. I got a lot of other stuff to get to, but I can't comment on the quality of it or how easy it is to use. MakerBase is also known as MKS, and in general, if I'm going with a cheap 3D printer board, I'm going to go with MKS. But I haven't used their lower cost ones because they have the E3P and the E3D. I would not get the E3P. The E3P is a 256K program memory board, which you're going to quickly run into space issues on that. I think the E3D one is the one I actually have samples of from them, and that has 512K of memory. I'd probably go with that one. It wasn't too expensive. So, but again, I haven't messed with it, so I can't be like, oh yeah, it works great, or not, because I don't use it. So, but I will be messing with them. Let's see here. We need home automation that allows us to give the doggies treats. Yeah, if anybody has something I can print to make a treat dispenser, I will absolutely do that. That'd be cool. But yeah, we are coming out. Oh, the E3D is a 256. I can't remember which one I have. Let me see. You are correct. It's the E3P. I knew they have the E3D and the E3P. The E3P is the one I would get if you're going to mess with it. But you're definitely going to be on your own with setting up firmware. So if you want to get knee deep into the weeds, so to speak, go ahead and give it a shot. But I haven't even messed with them. If you want a cheap board that's got silent drivers on it, the Creality V427 would be my choice for a cheap board that's got the Trinamics on there. So unless, like I said, the E3P could be a great board, but I haven't tested it yet. My initial impression is that it seems to be built pretty well, but I haven't actually used it. Like just looking at it, it doesn't tell me much other than, oh, they did some decent design on here. But yeah, so we are coming up on the 1 hour mark. So it is dog treat time, and I will also post the giveaway link in the chat again. You know, this really sucks that I can't use Stream Deck because now I have to copy and paste it in here. So, anyways, you guys want a treat? Yeah? He's gonna lose his mind, but I'm gonna give Clara her treat first. Can we sit? How about speak? Yeah? Shake? Good girl. He's getting jealous. Look at him. He's like, how come she gets treats but I don't, Dad? How about lay down? All the way? No, all the way down. No. There. Good girl. Now for the puppy. We'll get the puppy. Oh. There we go. We're getting big. Yeah, he knows the sound of the treat. But do you want this? Is this what you want? Do we want the treats? Oh, so close. You almost got it. Num 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 num. There you go. There you go. There we go. Did you even taste that? Anyways, it's the end of the stream. Say bye, Remo. He's trying to bite me. So we are 9 weeks old today. I don't know how much we weigh, but we are cute for now. Look at those ears. They're almost all the way up. So, but anyways, I will see you guys all in the next stream. I hope you guys learned something. Did you learn something? I don't think you did. But I hope you guys learned something. And as always, happy printing.